Feel free to be part of the conversation as well on our WhatsApp 0719 100 404. And we want to get into conversation particularly about the world of demons and how they exist, their role, their purpose, and everything aligned to that. Join me for that particular conversation is Evangelist Reiki Mashamombe. Booster ready. Good morning to you, Evangelist. Thank you so much for joining us.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. I hope your Tuesday so far is well.
So far is very good.
We like that.
I've been blessed by the Lord, and I'm grateful about that. And I share my blessings with everyone who's listening and everyone in the studio.
Awesome. So if you allow me to take you back, we had a conversation off air, I think a few weeks back, and you then were speaking to us in studio, saying I was reading about demons and all that, and how many they are and their functions and all that. And to me, as much as it was scary, it was also fascinating to try and understand what happens in that realm, and you know how they operate and all that. Because I want to believe, and I was joking in the last hour that because you can't understand why did this person behave in this particular manner, or why things happen like that as well. So let's break the ice, and perhaps what's the easiest starting point to try and understand what these demons are. Yeah, what's the easiest starting point in just trying to understand very basically, as we perceive them to be evil, but what are they?
For those who will be reading Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 13, Isaiah 14 verse 12, Revelations 12 verse 9, and John chapter 8 verse 44, I'll keep on repeating them. You will go into how the devil or Lucifer or Satan was booted out of heaven, but it doesn't really state much about their creative force, how they came to be. In God's infinite plan, he had his realm in heaven where he had angels. No demon, they had angels. But because of one thing that crept into one of them, thinking that I can be equally as good, as powerful, as mighty, and as controlling as God is, therefore I can become. That's why you find that the one of the greatest sins that will ever cripple man is pride. And so with that, he kept on at it, and God was watching. You know that God was unknown to it. He kept on watching, but he thought he would change. He thought he would leave it standard, but he kept on doing it and influencing other angels. That you know what, we can do this. And with so saying and so persuading others, he did very well. Now, I want you to understand that we can't speak about demons without speaking about angels, because they were angels. The highest ranking angel is called Metatron, and then we've got archangels, and Lucifer was an archangel and standing in the same, people theologians would say, with his twin sibling, that's Michael. Then we've got Gabriel, then we've got Uriel, then we've got Raphael. And so with all these, they are given powers by God to behave as how God would be and how God would do it. So Lucifer had the power of light. In Latin, Lucifer means lucere, is light. So he was illuminous. Hence you find people speak about Illuminati as the devilish power or controlling force in terms of entertainment and media. But we're going to get to that. And then you have, as he was that, he would sing as well. Blessed with an angelic voice to sing. If the people who sing right now, then no one who was able to wow and sing to God more than Lucifer was. Put in mind, they were cherubims and seraphims. So they stand on the throne of the God and entertain the Lord with psalms and songs. Now, having done that, he persuaded a large number of those who looked at him. And there are orders, and I'll go and explain the orders of angels. There are powers, numerous of them, that end up to the rank of the place that we will then have the structure of demon, their powers, their dominions, their thrones, and their seraphims and their cherubims. So with all that rank, there were others that looked up to him, and they then started to see him as a god in quotes. Now, fast forward, the world was created, they were already booted out. they did not see how God created the world. Adam and Eve. I'm just fast forwarding to get where we are.
Yeah.
The story of creation. Now he sees, because in his realm God had spoken that I'm going to make it possible to create human beings, and human beings I'm going to love, and I'm going to make sure my son will be with them. This was the infinite plan. Now, the devil listening that there's going to be another created force that not as powerful as we are, but that God is going to love wholly with his heart. There's the reason why we sin so much, but God forgives us. Satan only one sin, and God booted him out. Now, when he went into the world, his eyes now were opened in the Garden of Eden. There is man. He did not go to man because he said, that's the power of God. I cannot go to him. But woman, that's the created thing. Now that I can attack. And theological books will speak about how the devil would then go and tempt and attack the woman. Now, the reason why we say Jesus is the second Adam is because in his plan now, the coming of it, he was shrouded again, not to see the birth of Jesus, not to see the rise of Jesus, only to appear at age 30 after baptism, when the voice said, this is my beloved son. Then the demonic world was awoke now. Dear watch, O Emmanuel, let's go after him. He went to the desert not only to fast, but to make a statement to the devil that I am the one, and also to conquer him. So the conquest began there. His first defeat was in Matthew chapter 4. When Jesus went into the wilderness to pray. But then he kept on at him. If I can't get to him, I can get to others who are surrounding him. Now, that's the introduction I think I can give now. There are many, 72 known by names. Baal, Agares, Vago, Gamenin. Now, there's a book which is called Lesser Keys of Solomon.
Right.
When King Solomon wanted to build the temple, definitely his father could not build it, but Solomon was given the honor by God to build it. As he was building the temple, demons came to him. We get to know much about demons because of Solomon's encounter with them. Solomon was given a ring by Michael, the archangel, that he wore. And in this ring, he could control demons. He could speak to demons. He could converse with them. And when he was conversing with them, he knew he was going to die, wise as he was. So he had to leave a writ for his son who was coming, so that he would be able to conquer the demonic world and the physical world that we live in. Now, by so doing, as he had this ring power that he had on him, he could summon a demon, speak to a demon, get to know the name of the demon, get to know the rank of the demon and the function of the demon, and then he would write them down. He would, through the power given to him by Michael, put the demon in a small box, which we then call a Pandora. And some even say that into a small lantern, which then would, the genie in a bottle.
Yeah.
So I'm getting there. So when he would put them there, he was also given, because where there is a demon, there is also an angel that will counter it. It's in the book of Psalms. I'll reiterate it later on. So for every demon, there's an angel that will counter it perfectly. So he was given the power to seal them. And that was it. Build the temple perfectly, through the Pandora in the ocean. But since he was talking to him and his aides were there, they went and sought after it. And the demons opened again. And then they've been troubling us. And I've often told people that, but the one agabatwa na Solomon, agaburiswa na Abraham, agaburiswa na Moses, na nasi tichirivo nao panapa. Because the demons are waiting for the final judgment to be distracted and destroyed by Jesus Christ. I've often asked myself, last week I preached about the men at Ganasara called Legion with many demons. Why didn't Jesus destroy them? Why did he put them in the pigs? And then they went in the water. Did they die? No, because they are waiting for the final judgment, which will come. Then they'll be destroyed. It also coincides with that Bible passage that said, Rega zikurirane. Rega zvakadaruseya zikurirane. When the man went and said, Mamba, atakudyarere koron wheat. Ko sei tiri kuona sawiri chibuda zvikanzi sei zvakadaro. Regai zikurirane. On the final day of judgment, that's when he's going to make his mark. Why? Because he's giving men the time to repent. We've been given too much of a long rope to do our share of sins and go to God and say, I have sinned. And how often should we do it? Every day. How often should we do it? Every time. An opportunity given to mankind, not given to the demons that fell. Now, who was responsible for this? The archangel Michael was responsible for literally booting out and distracting from heaven Lucifer, who then went into this abyss, which you call earth. And we find ourselves here. Now, where do demons reside? They reside in an ibc or some place. Some people call it a cave. Zvatinozoti masango anorura, zvatinozoti makomo anoera. Some of them anoereswa nekuti ane mapako. It's an empty space no one will occupy. Hence the demons will go and stay there if they are not in a human abode. And not all demons enter into a human abode. And not all demons manifest themselves. They have a hierarchy and a rank of them. And I shall go into that rank if you so do allow me. I know you allow me.
I will. I'm processing.
Okay, fine.
Processing.
So there are kings in the demonic world. There are kings. Baal is a king. Pamwe is a king. Person is a king. Asmodeus is a king. Balaam is a king. Belial is a king. There are princes. This is the rank. Gap is a king. Horus is a king. Stolas is a king. We get these things from ancient literature, Germanic ancient literature of priests, of magicians, of noblemen who wrote these things. Why? Because the commoner could not write. I'm talking about things that happened 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, and even BC, as in the case of Solomon. So much of the text we get is from Solomon. Then people build up from there. 1750, we get a book that was written by Solomon, which was discovered in Germany, and this priest then was able to annotate and write them. The name of the demon, the function of the demon, biblical scripture of the demon if it's there, and the angel that is responsible for diminishing this demon from a particular person. So from there, we go to presidents. There are presidents amongst demons. Barabbas or Mabas, who is responsible for making people sick, is a president. Pamwe, Ose, Ami, Valak. We've got dukes as well. We've got marquis, and a marquis is between the duke and the count. We've got earls, we've got knights. There are many. So within their rank, there are those that send others. They don't come to you. They send others. Ukazoona Asmodeus auya. My guy, you're in trouble.
Asmodeus being the...
Asmodeus is a king. Asmodeus is one of them. When we are speaking about their rank in terms of kings, let me just show you what happens here. Asmodeus, when people say I'm going to an orgy, where people mostly are involved in extreme deep lust feelings, it's one of the demons sent by Asmodeus, because he's responsible for 70 legions. A legion has got 1,000. Sorry, a legion's got 5 to 6,000 according to the Roman way of counting the army structure. So when he said we are legion in the scripture, he wasn't speaking of one. He was speaking that there are 6,000 demons here. Wow. That's the language. So Asmodeus, Astaroth is responsible, is a female god and is responsible for people who are lazy. Next week, the demons are responsible for that, because they know that if you work very hard, you're going to shake this world, you're going to make a revolution, you're going to be prosperous, and you're going to make people know God and love God more. So you're given this thing that will make you procrastinate. But the demons are responsible for that.
If I can hold you, sorry to interject. In that same regard, I would like to ask, is there a difference between being possessed and being oppressed by a demon? I ask in the context which partners someone is demonized. You know, is the demon now within you, or they are causing you to function in a particular way?
They do. They take control of your mental faculty. They take control of your bodily faculties. They manifest in what they want to do. But when they do that, they are aimed to distract someone or something. Their objective is that this show is going to impact people with so much knowledge, and we don't want this show to continue. So what do? Make the people in there sick. What do? Send comments on WhatsApp that derail everything. There's a kunyeba, there's a fake scripture reference, but just one statement, you can change the narrative. So they are there. How do we know? How do we see them? By their acts. But then, our eye has not been trained, so is our ear. Because we have been taught since Bible school to go to the positive side, the good side, the knowing side. We haven't been taught about the other side. How I wish since kindergarten we were taught about these things, so that we become mostly equipped. There is no army that goes to war telling you about our strategy. We need to know the strategy of the foe. There is no tactician as a coach who knows about his team only. You need to study and know the opposing team so well, more than themselves. Know which side they attack, how many times they attack, who has been taking so many goals, who has been running the most. You need to know those stats so that you're better equipped to occupy and conquer them. Now, Azazel was the demon responsible for teaching mankind how to make artillery, how to make weapons for destruction. So we will be saying, the atomic bomb. But what they do is that they don't come to you every day. They've already set their base. If you make it interesting to create weapons and to make weapons, we make it into a business. It's now much more lucrative. And then we've got people creating more bombs and more weapons, more than food for those who are sick and for those who are hungry. I was discussing with a fellow friend that developed countries right now, they would create a budget that is earmarked to go and fight wars in Israel and Ukraine. But in their backcourt, there are people who are sleeping hungry. But they're not concerned about that. So you see, there are demons responsible for many functions that we do in our world, and we just give it a blind eye and say, because that's what they've made it to be. They've made this world their kingdom. And it's not a lie. When you read scripture, this is his kingdom. But Jesus came to tell him that even though it is your kingdom, I reign over king. This is why King of Kings. It's not primarily meant to talk about King Charles or King Mutapa. No, they're not concerned about that. It is these kings that we are really saying he's the king of these kings who have made themselves kings. So when they came to earth, they maintained the same structure. If we have soldiers that rebel right now, going to the bush and maybe they want to start a civil war, they'll maintain the rank and structure that they had in the army. If you're a colonel, you're respected as a colonel. A sergeant will salute you. If you are a general, the one subordinate to you will always salute you. And that has been the structure. So they took the structure and they're moving with the structure.
What then makes us, I think our general understanding from a religious perspective is that we've always known, and I think that's why we, this is fascinating, because now we understand the ranks and all that. But what makes the difference as well, dhimoni and all that, is it the same way we would see a demon, maybe outside the church setup, but in the different, you spoke about the demon of laziness, the demon of would we interpret them the same? Because when a demon is cast out in a church setup, you can get the picture that there's something very powerful going on. Is it the same setup when it's outside the church setup, where you're acting in whatever way, but it's just not looking good? I don't know if you get me. Kuti pane msiyano maitikira zvinoita muchechi, pane msiyano here maonero atinozviita pachibudiso dhimoni paya muchechi, and when there is someone out there who is possessed, or maybe now it's about the rank as well, that's causing you to function in certain ways.
As I stated, the kings, the presidents, the dukes that I've just spoken about, they are in charge of legions. The higher you are, the more legions that you are within your subordination as a principal. I can send one, go to scatter, make him feel dizzy, and every time he feels dizzy, you can come. You can exercise yourself, because we have power and dominion. That's what people don't know and understand. We're given the power, we're given the dominion to occupy them, and also to control them, and also to deal with them. But then that also has to do with you, because grace builds on nature. If your grace is such that you're a prayerful person, they know what you occupy, they know what you can do, they will not come. But what they'll do, they'll go and call anamkoma wao. Matituma kwakati adigone kusika, because anisimba they matenda mwili nini. They may come, they may not come. But when they come, then you have to prepare. This is when we speak about people are involved in spiritual battles. And they do come. But they do come in ways that you don't know. I had struggles with understanding you need to be someone who reflects upon your personal life. You're someone who contemplates on your life, what's going on in your life, the people that are in your life, the influences that are in your life, and the people that you're influencing as well. That's very important. When you take stock of that, you are able to understand some things. You won't be able to be angry. I've had a situation where I've got one car that always dies. It starts it dies. I've got a pig farm. I've got sometimes when pigs just die. dzine nhumbu dzosvodza dzese dziri 8. So you need to understand that the attack may not be on me directly because he's away and I'm away, but the attack is on the people that are surrounding me, the assets that are surrounding me. And if you're not so careful, you will lose it. And once you lose it, because he's waiting for a timing when you're angry, when you're mad, when you're emotional, then you're not in your right sense, then that's when he comes into and occupy you. And when he comes to occupy you, it may take time for you to realize the state that you're in, for you to cast it out, because you can.
Talking about casting out, when a demon is cast out, what happens after that? Are you completely free of it? And what happens in terms of, kana pamwe vadzokera kwavanenge vabva kova unoripota kuti ndabviswa panzvimbo iyi or whatever, are you now completely free, or now it's your task chachijana chako chekumeka sure kuti since I've been set free, I can make sure that now hapana chichauya kwandiri, and maybe the spiritual process that you need after that and all that.
Thank you for that. When Jesus would exorcise or